Hi, it's Nicole McGurk with this week's From Start to Finish video brought to you by 2peasinabucket.com. This week's layout features 4x6 photos and stamping. Okay, this week's layout is going to feature the July Studio AE stamp set, and it's all outdoor themed stamps. Kind of hard to see here. They're all phrases and things like the call of the wild and go climb a tree, get outside, a cute little tree here, and also a little bird. And with that, I'm also going to be using some of the May Studio AE stamps that are just back in stock at 2Piece. And all of these are going to be for a boyish themed layout, and I have a couple of standard 4x6 photos here, plus a smaller 3x4 photo. All of my oldest son out on his bike. And then for my paper, I'm going to be using For the Record by Echo Park, this kind of tan design paper. Some black cardstock as the base of my page. I don't use black a lot, but I really felt like the papers that I chose today kind of called for that. Then from the Crate Paper Toy Box collection, they have this great camo paper, which is perfect for my son's outfit here. It just kind of works back in with all of that. Then I pulled some of the green kind of distressed solid from For the Record. I'm not sure how much or if any I will use of that, but just in case I need a little bit of that. And then also from the toy box from Crate Paper, I pulled out the book print paper. I used this in last week's video as well, but this week I'm just going to use one border, this book that says Little Army Boy, just because I think it works back again with the theme of my page. Then to complement my papers, I'm going to be using a couple of 6x6 sheets, one from Basic Gray's Manila paper pad, and also a sheet from My Mind's Eye Lime Twist. And these are the two papers I'm going to be using. This is the Lime Twist paper, and it's a nice yellow or kind of mustard color. And when you pull these out of the My Mind's Eye pads, they have this like little 1/4 of an inch, or I guess a little more than a 1/4 of an inch, a little less than a 1/2 inch top that you could cut off if you were using it as is, but I think I'm going to leave it. I like that contrast thing there, maybe tie some twine or something through that. I'm going to be layering these on my page, and then I'm going to use the ledger print paper for a lot of my stamping, like to stamp my title and things. So I have those papers there. Then I've also pulled out a couple of elements from these Little Yellow Bicycle journal tablets. I have the Story of Today, and from the Everyday tablet, which I believe is no longer available, but I have a whole bin of these kinds of things that I think are perfect for just throwing on a page, great for journaling on or tucking underneath things. So I have that one, and then from the Generation journal tablet, I pulled this little peace sign circle die cut out. I love the yellow in it. I thought it coordinated nicely back with all of that. Then, like I said, my stamp sets are the May and July Studio AE stamps. And then I also pulled out the Hero Arts Joyride collection stamps, which are all these really cute bicycles which work back again to my photos. And I'm thinking, I grabbed some label stickers here from October Afternoon. I'm not even sure, I've cut these all apart, so I'm not sure which collection this is. I'll link it in the supplies. But I'm going to use this small bike, I think, and stamp it at the top of my label. And then just stamp part of this phrase, "Let's go for a ride," and just do go for a ride in between the two little dotted lines here. So just kind of create some of my own custom embellishments for my page. The first thing I did was trim my background mat to 11 by 11 inches, and then I did trim the border here and a strip from the camo paper, and I ended up not using them, as you probably noticed in the finished paper. I tried and tried and tried to get them to work, and in the end I had removed them because I just couldn't get it to look how I wanted it to look. And I removed those two elements and I realized that I really liked the design without those borders. I liked it more with the cream and the black and the yellow and not the green, and then just a touch of red. I also ended up not using any of those little yellow bicycle die cuts. Again, I tried and tried and tried to get them to work, and in the end, I just didn't like the composition. So what I'm going to do here is create my own embellishment. I'm using the Joy Ride stamp set from Hero Arts, and I stamped a cute little teeny tiny bike with some ink from Stampin' Up. And then I stamped the little phrase in red. And then I'm using this little star. It's from an Ali Edwards, I believe it's the February Studio AE stamp set, to add the stars on either side. And it gives you a really nice finished label sticker that is custom made to match your page. Now I'm simply adhering my papers. Again, you can see that I have attached those papers at the bottom and they just didn't work out. So I did end up removing them and I didn't mess up my page at all. So a lot of the things I originally thought I was going to do didn't really work out. That happens sometimes. I really fiddled with this and moved things around over and over and over. And it was just one of those layouts that took a really long time coming together for whatever reason. Even though the finished result is nothing that is terribly time intensive. I just had a hard time figuring out exactly what I wanted to do with my page, I guess. I had the basic design down. I knew I wanted those 2 horizontal 4x6 photos and then that smaller 3x4 photo. And I just had a little bit of trouble figuring out my composition. Then I also messed around with my stamps quite a bit, trying to figure out exactly what I wanted to say. So you can kind of see here that I have finally figured it out. I'm going to stamp. This stamp is from the July Ali Edwards Studio AE set. And then I did add another stamp set. It's the February Studio AE stamp. I like that phrase and I like that text with the script of the July set. And then the rest of the stamps I'm using here are, one is, the U is from the May Studio AE stamp set, and the other one is from the July set. Now you can see I stamped this down here. I originally thought that that was how I was going to do it. I did not restamp the whole thing. I end up hiding the part down there, the U playing, that I just stamped. I'll show you what I did with that in a little bit. I stamped another phrase from the May set on some craft cardstock and then punched it out with a punch from Stampin' Up. And I have a little metal label that goes over that shape. Now I trimmed just a little bit off of these 6x6 pages so that it gives the illusion of a full sheet. So you kind of it gives the illusion that those are longer strips on either side. Also, I am framing up my 4x6 photos by using that craft cardstock above and below my photos. I think it just kind of helps ground them a little bit. Plus, I'm going to add some machine stitching to just give it that added finished look. A lot of times I leave a white border if I'm printing it at home. These I had printed elsewhere, so I wanted to add just a little bit of a border. There you can see I've printed out my journaling, and I'm going to include just a few words in my journaling. I know I've shown that before. It's something I like to do a lot. I think it draws your eye to the journaling and to the story behind your photos and your page. I've been making more of an effort to really add meaningful stories, and even if it's not really long journaling, like this isn't terribly long journaling, but it's actually something more than here is my son playing outside. It gives a little bit more background, and I think that the stamped words help draw attention to the journaling and make it a bigger part of the page and not just something that you feel like you have to do. So I added a little bit of notebook border there. I used a Stampin' Up! Punch just because that's what I have, but I've linked some other punches that are longer border punches. I really should invest in one of those. It would probably be a little quicker rather than, because the one I have only punches like a couple of those little notches at a time. I'm adding some hemp string now to tie on my label, that metal label. I haven't used metal pieces in quite a while, so this was kind of a fun page for me. I added more embellishment than I have been doing, I guess I should say. I wanted this to still have lots of embellishment, but still have a very boy feel, and I think the metal adds to that. The hemp adds to that, more of that boy feel. It's not quite so girly, I would say. More rustic feeling. I'm going to tie that in a little bow there on one side. I could have used the mini brads that come with these, but I thought it would be fun to make it look like it was tied onto that piece. And then I have a whole bunch of metal and wood buttons. These are My Mind's Eye and crepe paper, I believe, and maybe some old ones from KI Memories from a couple years ago, I think. Then I just picked some ribbons, and even though ribbon is something that I would consider more of a feminine type thing, I am notching mine and making them more like little tabs on the top of that little 6x6 My Mind's Eye sheet of paper there. And I think it's still, the colors I chose are very neutral. Plus, I didn't tie them in bows or anything like that. I'm using them as little, just another little design piece. Originally, I stapled them on, and I thought I might leave one or two of them like that, but then I ended up going ahead and sewing on a couple more boyish type buttons and adding some metal brads and things like that. For more information on this layout, please visit twopiecinsabucket.com on July 13th, 2011. Thanks for watching.